Hi everyone. I apologize for this video being so late, but I guess it doesn't really matter since Glee is now on a 2-week hiatus. I missed all last week. And I had uploaded a video, but for some reason it didn't go through, so I'm going to do a second crack at this video. And also, I'm getting over a cold, so I'll be pulling a Quinn and drinking out of a water bottle occasionally throughout this video, because I obviously tend to talk a lot, so my throat will be dry and scratchy. So that also is why I sound like a prepubescent boy, because my voice is like cracking. So apologize for that as well. Okay, so let's dive right into the episode that just happened last week. It's called I Do, and I actually took notes. I'm going to show them to you because I'm proud of them. I know it's a lot going on, lots of arrows and everything. Um, so let's jump right in. Like I said, um, the episode is called I Do. It was written by Ian Brennan, directed by Brad Belchek. So, and this episode takes place mostly all in Ohio, minus a brief appearance of New York slash Bushwick at the end. So, first thing I want to point out is that this is the second week without any Ryan Murphy mention as the writer or director of this episode. 2 weeks in a row seems to be a good number because I feel that this was just as strong as last week's previous episode, Diva, and now we have this one. So I have hope for the rest of this season. There's not that many episodes left. There's 22. I think we're up to maybe 16 now, so maybe there's 6 episodes left. I don't remember exactly. But at any rate, the whole season is 22 episodes. So, going from there, one of the reasons why this episode is so exciting is because everybody's back for Will and Emma's wedding. So all the graduates come back for the wedding, and they're there in some capacity, some more than others, obviously. But we get to see all of them. So why don't we start off with Mike Chang, because he has the least amount to do in this episode. He doesn't speak at all. We just get to see him dance, which is great. We get to see him dance in some of the montages. Specifically, Just Can't Get Enough, which Blaine and Kurt sing. And then he does dance with Tina during We've Got Tonight because everybody else pairs off. Um, and he does shake Mr. Shu's hand when Mr. Shu sees him, like, in the church. And that's about it. We don't get to hear Mike talk. We don't get to hear him talk to Tina, which is awkward, I think. But, I guess this episode has so much crack, like, smashed into it that they can't even afford one small side confrontation between the two of them. But we can get Tina talking to Kurt. Whatever. It's Glee. I'm just happy with what happened pretty much in this episode. So the next person who comes and makes an appearance is Mercedes. She sings in the church. She sings, like, the belting out parts of that song, The Company of Not Getting Married Today. She looks gorgeous. Amber looks amazing. She's lost so much weight since the beginning of Glee, especially into, like, last year. She's been losing a lot of weight. And she just looks great. She looks happy. She looks healthy. She looks like she's glowing, and she looks like, this time away from Glee has been really good for her. She's actually been doing, I think, an off-Broadway musical, and she's been really busy. So that's why she's only having these really small parts in Glee now. So I think that has made her happier, like, just generally speaking. Puck, we already know he's back in Lima. He has been for the past couple episodes. Um, so apparently he's now dating Kitty, which I find disturbing, or really disturbing. He steps in for a moment to give Jake advice, but that's about it. Kurt comes back. So the main people who come back who have huge roles are obviously Kurt, Rachel, and Quinn, and Santana too. But so with Kurt, he's explaining, and he keeps saying that this doesn't mean anything, but they hook up. They hook up in the back of a Prius, which is kind of hysterical, and like full on hook up. Like you see, like buttons like coming off and shirts getting taken off. So they hook up once in the car, and then they hook up again during the song, the song that everybody hooks up in. So I think that's kind of cool, that they get to hook up twice. Out of all the couples, they get a two-time hookup, minus Quinn and Santana. So I thought that was great for gay men, gay equality. I personally find Klain kind of boring. I love Kurt by himself, and I love Darren Criss, not necessarily the character of Blaine, but these are my own opinions. Let's see. Then we have Rachel interacting with Finn. I actually found this Rachel to be sweet and endearing, and also Finn as well. I thought he was very adorable. Together, I have difficulty now separating Corey and Leah from Finn and Rachel. But I can't deny that they do have really great chemistry together when they're singing. when they're singing the duets we've got tonight, that's when I kind of felt them blurring the lines more. Couldn't really quite tell if they're acting more like themselves or the exaggerated version of themselves or the characters they're supposed to be playing. At any rate, I thought that Finn was actually adorable. And I do agree with Rachel. He does, he slimmed down. He looks better. He looks more like a man than a man-child now. Obviously, whatever vegan food that Lee is feeding him, it's working out for him. So I actually found those moments to be sweet, especially with the whole flower and he's picking like she loves me not, and then she picks the last petal. That was cute. So I was actually tolerant of them being together, and I'm glad that they hooked up. Like after the whole thing that they made a big deal of them all having sex for the first time all at the same time, I'm glad that Rachel has found her sexual, I guess, freedom or identity or whatever, which is apparent because she is like living and hooking up with Brody on a continual basis. But I'm glad that she and Finn got to hook up. Like let them hook up. It's fine. So then the other couple that we see that are also in this episode is we see Jake and Marley together. Obviously, they come to the wedding together. Um, and then of course this is the Valentine's Day episode too. So um, Jake gets help from Ryder in trying to impress Marley. And then in the end, we see that Marley obviously knows that it's Ryder who does all those nice things and gestures. It's not Jake. They also go to a hotel room too, but they don't have sex because Marley's not ready, and Jake is a gentleman and doesn't do anything. However, Ryder thinks that something happened, so he's like, screw this, I'm going to go after the girl too. Enough being Mr. Nice Guy, which I think was inevitable. It was great that they were bros for a little bit, and that's it. Thankfully, none of the other kids are there, or, it doesn't really matter, but the other ones. Um, and then we have Brittany and Sam, and they go to the wedding together. I love the outfits they always pick for Brittany. They're like completely out of tune with everybody else, but that's how Brittany is. She dances to her own drum, literally. So we get to see her be with Sam. They don't really talk. I think Sam just says like, "Come on, let's dance" or something, or pulls her up to go dance. And so we might as well start from there. So with my favorite pairing of all, which is Quinn and Quintana. So we get to see them walking into the church. Quinn picks a pew, starts walking in, and then they start talking about how hot they are, and this place sucks, and they can't, Santana says she can't believe she's back here already, she just left, you know. So then they're like, this stupid wedding, blah, 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 blah. We can't believe we're in a church. Kind of a deal. So then we get Brittany and Sam turning around, because obviously they could probably hear them ranting and raving, and they do a really small wave. And when you see that, Santana just looks so dejected, so wistful, wishing that she was there at Brittany. It just kind of speaks volumes. Just with the eyes, again, just acting between her, Naya, and Heather is just, there's so much that goes on just with one look, I think. Of course, I read into every interaction, but that's what I see when I see that really brief, 5-second interaction between them. So then she turns over to Quinn, is like even more exasperated, like, oh god, this even falls on Valentine's Day, like how cliche. So they kind of bond over that, and it's hysterical. Quinn's not even paying attention to her, like fixing her makeup or whatever, passing her compact mirror. So then, we get to the whole Emma's not going to marry Mr. Shu, which I think is awesome. I think that Will sucks for Emma. I think, yeah, he helped her get over Carl and whatnot, but I think that Emma could do a lot better, and she's better than Will, honestly. She did a great job. Emma did a great job singing that song. It's really difficult. I'm not familiar with this Broadway musical, The Company, but that's a difficult song to sing. She even talked about it in the behind the scenes of I Do. Check it out if you haven't yet. She talks about how she had to record it in the studio and how she was crying and just a lot. Of course, having to sing that really at a fast pace. So that whole number was a big one. We get Mr. Shu singing along with Emma. Then we get Sue. So for the adult-wise, I think Sue, this is probably one of her strongest episodes. She shows up wearing the exact same dress as Emma and just sits there, eating the fruit, not really paying attention to her, saying, yeah, you shouldn't marry Will, obviously. Duh. And then Emma's like, I'm not getting married today. And she runs through, the back of the church. out in the front and gets in a cab and drives away. And Mr. Shu acts like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe you left. And it's like, dude, you freaking, like, up and went to Washington, D.C. and made your girlfriend slash fiance who has OCD plan this entire wedding without your input. Which leads her to freaking out and leads to Finn kissing her. So, whatever. And then Finn gets all, like, nervous that, that they kissed. And Emma's like, you know what, get over it. I have other things to worry about than you and your feelings. Which, I love that. Like, Emma's like, just, you know what, no holds bars. Like, dude, get over it. It's a kiss. Whatever, it happened. Like, it wasn't about you, it was about me, basically. So, so Mr. Shu has been a douchebag fiance. Honestly, a douchebag boyfriend, if you ask my opinion. So Emma's, off, gone away, runaway bride, gone. Mr. Shu doesn't know what the fuck happened, and she's just being awesome. So Santana gets sent in, because apparently they say that she has no feelings, to ask Mr. Shu what to do about the reception. So he says, go on, you guys are all here, you came back for this wedding, go out and have a good time. So then the next thing we get is Sam basically pulling Brittany up to dance, and then we get to see Quinn, Santana, and Mike Chang dancing, and then when Santana sees Bram dancing, she pulls Quinn over to the bar. So the next awesome scene happens where they basically take their fake IDs out of their bras, presumably, because they don't have any bags, and they whip them out and they show the bartender. So apparently Santana is now somebody from Alaska, and Quinn is somebody from Hawaii. So yay for the Aloha State, rainbow in the background. So they were hysterical. The picture is like Santana's mugging, like, yeah, I'm over 21. So it effectively works, and they get shit-faced. Pretty fast, I might add. I mean, they're getting wine, so that tends to work faster than beer, and then it also looks like they're shaking cocktails. Sorry, like I said, I have a cold. They're shaking cocktails in the middle of Kurt and Blaine's duet, which is like a fun up-tempo number, and everybody's dancing. So instead of dancing, they're getting drunk. The other couple that does happen, I forgot to mention, was Artie and Betty. I forgot because they're not really in the sequence of everything. So Betty was, I can't remember her name, but she was, Allie, is that right? She was in the Glee project for this year, and I'm glad that she was in it because she was one of the better actors, I think. She's a great story. She's now dating Danny, one of the other contestants. They're very sweet together. But anyway, I thought she did a great job playing this angry girl, like, stuck in a wheelchair, but trying to act like she's not. And then Artie sees right through her and says, yeah, I kind of like that you're a bitch. Like, let's go dance. So the great thing about this little scene is that if you look behind Artie, you will see, I think it's more Diana and Naya acting out than Quinn and Santana, because they're just laughing and having a ball, drinking, probably grape juice in a freaking glass. But then Diana drops something on the floor, and Naya goes to pick it up, and they're just laughing hysterically in the background, which just further augments when you cut to them throughout this musical number, and you see Santana with a shaker shaking stuff, you see them downing drinks, that whole thing happens. And even, that's just little great background stuff like that builds, okay? So then the next scene we get, or the next song that we get, I don't remember all the songs, but at any rate, the big one, the big number where everybody gets to hook up is We've Got Tonight, which is a duet that Finn was supposed to sing to Will and Emma along with Rachel as his wedding present instead of his best man toast. That's what Will asks for. So, well, they're not there. It doesn't matter. They're still going to sing, right? Rachel's home. She's not going to not sing. So I think it's great that Finn talks to Rachel about kissing Miss Pillsbury in the lima bean, and then she helps him pick up the song, and you can tell there's, like, awkwardness between them, but they're both trying to be adults about it. And then they sing this song, and it's like you can't deny, the chemistry that they have together. So they sing this song, and everybody pairs up. We have Artie and Betty, I assume, dancing together, Jake and Marley, Mike and Tina. Mercedes apparently is now back in California. And she also does not speak to Sam. Again, complete lapse of judgment. I get that, they don't have enough time to throw everybody in, but if you could fit, like, 3 conversations between Finn and Rachel, you could squeeze in a one tiny conversation between Sam and Mercedes, my opinion. More so than Mike and Tina. Because at least Mike and Tina have talked. They talked in Glee, but Sam and Mercedes have not, even though Sam was pretty instrumental in getting Mercedes to LA. But, you know, we can fry that fish another day. Well, let's see. So then Kurt and Blaine, everybody dances together. Kurt and Blaine. And then the cool one is Quinn and Santana. So I don't know. I kept rewinding this part just to see their interactions, and obviously Sam and Brittany are dancing together. I mean, all the couples are dancing together. But I don't know. The way that Santana has her arm draped around Quinn, it's very possessive. They're dancing very close to each other. Um, they're actually, yeah, dancing very close to each other. And it seems like Quinn has sort of been hitting on Santana the whole night. When they're sitting at the bar, she tells her that she looks hot in that dress. And Santana's eyebrows are kind of like, what is this? What's going on here? You know, like, usually Santana's the one to hit, right? Hit on a girl or whatever, but Quinn's going for it, you know, and I'm sure the alcohol obviously is helping the whole situation, especially because they're bitter and it's Valentine's Day on top of everything, right? So that happens, and they're dancing together, and then Quinn says, you know, she's never danced with a girl before, but she kind of likes it. Again, Santana's like, like, what is going on with this girl, right? But she's there to enjoy the moment, too, so they just keep dancing. So cut to, you know, the song keeps going on, and then we see them all pair off. So we see that first one's to get a room, I believe, are Finn and Rachel. Then we see Blaine and Kurt go into a hotel room. Then we see Jake and Marley go into a hotel room. You know, and it's all very cute. They're looking around the hallways. Like, this hallway got, like, the most fucking action I've seen in forever. There was, like, 6 different couples that went to go hook up. So then we get drunk Quinn and drunk Santana stumbling and bumbling, like, knocking into the walls, themselves into walls, before Quinn is, like, taking Santana, basically, and looking in her bag for the key card, because apparently they got a room, and then we see Santana go, like, yay, score, I'm gonna get laid, right? Like, it's hysterical. And then you see Betty and Artie rolling up to get into a hotel room. So I think out of all the couples, I kind of pretty much expected that Jake and Marley weren't going to hook up, because she has said in the past she didn't want to move too fast physically, and in theory she's only a sophomore. And I guess Jake is not, but maybe he's a junior. I don't know. I thought it was awesome with the way that they treated Blaine and Kurt hooking up. Like, Kurt's still insisting that it doesn't mean anything, and Blaine's like, you can't deny that nothing's going on. We were here together for Christmas, and now it's Valentine's Day, and we're here. You know, and Kurt can't really say anything back. He just says, I'll see you downstairs. I love how Betty and Artie hooked up, too. And then Betty's asking, like, how was it for you? Was it good? And then Artie's like, I honestly don't know. Was it good for you? And they start laughing. Like, I thought that was cute. And also we get the fact that they exchange numbers at the end, you know, because she's going back home to wherever she lives. So that was cute. Rachel and Finn hook up. They get, like, the most scene of, like, Rachel, woo, big deal. She's taking off her clothes. Like, I don't know if that's supposed to harken back to naked when she was uncomfortable taking off her clothes, but now she's naked, supposedly under the sheet, as Finn, like, takes off his shirt and is in his undershirt, and they turn off the lights, because that's a line of the song. So then we get Quinn and Santana hooking up. We don't actually get to see them kiss. But I think that was okay, honestly. I think it left more up to the imagination, especially of the fanfiction writers who love Quintana. But we do know that they did it, obviously. The cool thing is that when Blaine is falling back into the bed after, you know, him and Kurt hook up, and all of a sudden turns, which is kind of weird, but it kind of, the motion is like Quinn, like, falling her head back, and she looks like she's so blissed out, like, had the best orgasm of her life, or maybe her first orgasm. I don't know, but she looks pretty freaking happy. Because the next moment we see her drinking out of a water bottle, because, fuck, Santana fucked her so hard that she's so parched and shit. And then we get to see this after sex scene, which is just so sexy. I mean, Quinn's hair is, like, mussed up, like, sex hair, like you would not believe. And she's there just drinking the water bottle, and Santana's just looking at her like, God, you're hot. You know, we're hot together, kind of a look. And yeah, Santana's hot. Like, whew, wow. And so just as Quinn is, you know, kind of unsure of what just happened, she says, like, oh, so that's why college girls experiment. And Santana goes, I'm so glad that they do. And just when Quinn's about to say, like, what the fuck does this mean for us? You know, Santana says right away, like, calm down, I'm not going to bring a U-Haul to your house. You know, it is what it is. We're having a good time. And so then Quinn's like, okay, well, what do we do now? And then Santana's like, well, you can leave first. Because I think Quinn says, like, this is just a one-time thing. That's what she says. And then Santana's like, well, you can leave first, or we can go, you can do something for a second time. So Quinn puts down the water bottle and looks like she lunges towards Santana. So we can all assume that it was a two for a time. And also people were talking about the positions where they were landed, where Quinn's at the head of the bed and Santana's kind of lying across the foot of the bed. So people were thinking that maybe that meant that they, did like 69 or whatever. You can read into whatever you want. Just know that they hooked up and it was hot. And I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see any more of that, but I kind of like the fact that they treated them hooking up just as equally as Blaine and Kurt hooking up or any of the other couples. We got to see them, post-coital or whatever, just like we got to see all the other couples, so we got to know for sure that they did it. Let's see, is that everybody that gets covered? So the person I thought was missing that was odd was Sugar. Sugar's been absent for like 3 episodes now, and she would know Mr. Shu and Emma, so why wasn't she at the wedding at all, even in the background? Maybe it's because they didn't have somebody for her to be with. I don't quite know. The other one I was missing is Coach Beast. I mean, isn't she supposed to be Will's like close friend? She's friends with Emma too. Why wasn't she at this wedding either? I don't know. I mean, I know this cast is huge, but there's certain people that she should have at least been in the background, in my opinion. Okay, sorry. So, moving on to other things. Let me make sure I talked about all the songs. Oh, okay. So the song-wise, Marley and Jake sing "You're All I Need to Get By." It's very reminiscent of when Artie sings that Stevie Wonder song to Britney. They have the throwback suits with the bell-bottom pants, ruffled shirts. They're doing like the synchronized moves and shit. It's fun. And Ryder is the best bro ever. So I think that was cute and all whatever. It's a great song. Like I said, we've got Tonight was the big Finn and Rachel duet. It's almost 4 minutes long. You can catch it here on YouTube on Glee on Fox, as well as all the other musical numbers, as well as they usually do a sneak peek before the episode, and then they do a behind the scenes after the episode airs. They release it on Fridays. So you can all look at those. They're very cute. You get to learn a little bit more about the making of the episode. And talked about all of these couples. Yeah, and even Sue gets to dance. Some guy asked her to dance, so she dances. So, I thought overall this is another strong episode, mainly because it's from the minds of Ian and Brad. If you remember the last episode, Brad wrote it and Ian directed it, and now they flip-flopped. So, hopefully we'll get these two in more combination, because they've done great work, in my opinion, these past 2 weeks. So, looking forward, now the hiatus will be for 2 weeks now, starting tonight. It's going to be returning on March 7th, and I believe it's starting at a later time, at 21:30, but we'll have to double check, because I think American Idol is running long, so I don't know, that show will never end, apparently. So, they do show some scenes, they say, like, in 3 weeks they show a bunch of scenes, but I do want to tell y'all that just because they show a bunch of scenes, it doesn't necessarily mean that A, they're going to all happen, and B, they're probably from a bunch of episodes coming up. It's not just this next one coming up on March 7th. Because that has happened in the past where they show stuff, and then due to lack of time or whatever, they cut out scenes. So, for sure we know we're going to get the 500th musical number, which is crazy to think that I think, someone like You, the Adele mashup, with rumor has it, was number 300 maybe? That sounds about right. I can't remember, but it was a pretty momentous number too. So the 500th musical number is coming up on Instagram. A bunch of the cast members took pictures. They had like lollipops and stuff made. So I don't quite know which song is 500, but that's pretty cool. The other thing that was a shocker cliffhanger they had at the end was if Rachel was pregnant, which I find this. I mean, I understand they have to do for plot-wise. To me it was a cliffhanger. I had no idea that was coming. But I would think that because, mind you, Quinn's pregnancy happened in season 1. We're now in season 4. And pregnancies happen all the time. I'm surprised actually no one else has gotten pregnant. The only other mention of pregnancy we had was when Brittany, thought the stork brought her a baby when she was with Artie. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. But I'm kind of disappointed in Rachel, honestly, because Rachel seems to be one of those people who would be on top of birth control and knowing her body, and she wouldn't leave it up to a man. Like, I think there was a whole discussion with Finn, like Finn using a condom when they had sex for the first time. So the fact that she would be this careless to not use backup if Brody's not using a condom to have birth control for herself, knowing that Quinn got pregnant, and knowing she could get pregnant, and apparently now could possibly have STDs since Rhodey is a gigolo sleeping around, apparently, which is disgusting. Like, no wonder he feels like a greasy, gross guy. Let's see. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. So March 7th is the big date. Comes back. As always, I always suggest y'all to look at AfterMelon.com if you're lesbian or bisexual, or even if you're not, just to see the gay perspective on this episode. Just as I encourage all of us who are lesbians to read the non-gay perspective, like on E! Or Hollywood Reporter. They also do great recaps, but it's great to see them in the non-lesbian focused light too. Be well-rounded people, you know what I'm saying? So, and after Ellen, they always do the gay shark tweets. They're always hysterical. Heather Hogan does a great recap. Usually she posts them on Fridays along with the collection of gay tweets. And then Dana Piccoli does it on Glee. That's a video that she does. She's also on Tumblr along with Heather Hogan. And Dana's videos are great. They're usually about 10 minutes. They're way shorter than mine, but she hits all the highlights. And her last one that I watched was great. It was pretty much all about Quintana. As for spoilers, I'm trying not to know them because I find with these past 2 episodes exactly, like, people are getting all their panties in a bunch and getting all freaked out over shit. And, like, I just find that I get less disappointment and more excited when things actually happen. Like, I knew that Quinn and Santana were hooking up, but I didn't quite know anything else. And people were freaking out over the fact that they kissed. Well, you know what? They didn't kiss. They just had sex, so whatever. However, if you do want to know spoilers, you can look on Glee Wiki, or Glee-cap Brazil's Tumblr always has lots of spoilers that are pretty reputable. And then you can look under Leslie Goldberg for the Hollywood Reporter. And then you can also look at E! With Kristen De Los Santos. She does spoilers for E! Let's see. I'm gonna try to not do any more videos, spoiler-wise either, because it's Lent, and I'm trying to, like, not be on social media and focus more on the season. So I will be working on my fan fiction though. So there's that. So, I highly recommend you look at my fan fiction or other people's fan fiction to get to the hiatus. Because there's some really creative writers out there who do a really good job. Honestly, I wish that they would write for Glee sometimes, most of the time. So I think that's it. I'm running right under half an hour. Hopefully you can understand me. Again, I apologize for my voice. I'm getting ill. You can follow me on fanfiction, you can follow me on Tumblr, but at any rate, I hope that all of you enjoyed the last 2 episodes, Diva and I do, and I will see y'all in about 2 weeks. I think I'm going to start doing the recaps on Mondays, only because I'll get a sense of being able to watch the episode a couple of times and be more organized, like I feel like I have been in these past 2 Glee caps. Alright, everyone. Peace out, take care, and be well. Peace out, homies. Bye.